With William, it's really interesting, man. My first day on season 6 was 4 consecutive scenes with Jack, who plays William. And I was incredibly nervous. Way more nervous than he was, because he was an unknown quantity in my mind. Like, he and I had never really acted together. We'd had a scene where I was holding him close and he was looking scared. We'd had a scene where he was playing with action figures, but he's 12 in the story and 14 in real life. And I was like, I hope he's good, because we're putting a lot of eggs in his basket for the beginning of season 6, and he was equal to the task. He was fantastic.
Season 5 is very much about getting things back to street level for the show. How would you describe kind of the ethos of season 6?
You know, when I was sitting here last year at this time, I knew exactly how season 5 was going to go and how it was going to end. I know how season 6 is going to end, but I do not know how we get there. It's a bit of a different year in terms of how we're building things, how we're introducing people, what the threat is, and I'm excited for it.
Can you talk about what James Bamford brings?
Well, this is our first year of James being a producing director, and just in general, in my mind, he just brings a through line. You know, he's been, it's like a list of people that I met in February of 2012. David Nutter, Michael Davidovich, my driver and buddy, and James Bamford. He's been there since the beginning. He wasn't even the stunt coordinator when we started. He was the fight choreographer. So having him there, there's just an energy, because it's almost like season 4 challenged us. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we had a little bit of a down year in terms of our like creative drive, so to speak. Everyone obviously gave their all, and you're always going to have years like that. It's doing a television show for seasons. It's like a relationship. You know, you have a little bit of time where, you know, but then you figure out how you really feel. And he has really helped me rediscover how I feel about the show. I'm so passionate about it, and I want to do so well at it. He really helps from that standpoint. Five. Yeah. I really am. Well, I mean, if you want to see Oliver more broken down than he was around 5:16, 5:17, then you're into some weird shit, because that, I mean, what Chase did to him on a psychological level. I was saying at the previous table, I don't think that we can match the emotional gravity of season 5. I think there's season 1, there's season 5, and there's whatever the last year of the show is. That doesn't mean that season 6 can't be better, but I'm most proud of season 5. Very proud of season 5.
Where do you think Oliver's headspace is now, with the events and everything that happened in season 5? Meaning, where is his headspace in season 6?
He misses all his friends. Actually, his headspace is actually pretty good. It's fun coming back every year and talking with the writers, Wendy MERICLE in particular as an executive producer, and talking about all the little subtle changes. Like, whereas in seasons past, Oliver would have given an order, now it's more a look and an acknowledgement, which I think is important. It's the little things, the nooks and crannies.
How much do you know, if anything, at this point about this year's big crossover with the other shows?
I know. I mean, I know everything.
Okay. How much can you tell us about this crossover?
Nothing. We don't follow it up with one villain. Does that make sense? Are you a fan of 24? Yep. Not an actor from that show. Although Paul Blackthorne being the villain would just be tremendous on a number of levels. It's more about the way that they introduced them on 24.
We asked the fans to send us questions, and
Sure.
90% of them tell us to ask you about publicity.
Yeah.
What can we expect?
Their relationship is in a decent place, assuming she survives. No, they're good. They're good. They have a again, taking for granted some things. They're in a good spot.
How do you obviously can't tell us anything about the crossover, but how is it doing those episodes now that you've done a very, very big one and a couple of the smaller ones with Flash and stuff like?
I mean, it's,
how
you know,
is it sort of going into their tone, maybe changing the tone, going into their world?
well, I don't change my tone.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of the issues that we ran into in the show. For me, from a creative perspective, is like, let's bend to this world. Let's not. It's called the Arrowverse. Like, let's just do what we do, right? But I mean, going to other shows, it's great. You know, there are people that work on Flash and Supergirl and Legends that have jobs that they were hired for from Arrow, and their promotions, and it's like, it's really cool to go and work with those people. And every set has a different vibe, right? Like, people are like laughing and joking on the Flash set, and the Supergirl set's kind of like, it was a lot of like them trying to find themselves last year because it was their first year, and our set's just like a fucking metronome, just like, here we go, do it. So it's really cool to go and work with new people. What's that? Well, she's definitely calling me Prince Green Arrow right now, but I don't think she's ever seen a full episode of the show. I'm excited to sit down and watch the pilot with her. I'll give it like maybe a year, 2 more years maybe. But it's fun that we have this big library for her to go through.
Is it right we're going to see a little more Slade this coming season as well?
I caught a rash of shit for speaking in generalities about season 6. Manu Bennett is involved in the show. No. I'll leave that to you, Craig. It is nice to have them back, though. Not her, not him, them. Yeah, all right. You're so welcome, guys.
Yeah, I need some coffee. This is without coffee, girl. So what's happening, team? Yeah? What did Steven give? What did he give? Did he give some spoilers?
He told us everything.
He
Crossover,
told us that you guys all blew up.
the islands.
Yeah.
Everybody, he told us the person's back.
Oh, wow, he told you all that? Huh? Yeah, right. You're such liars. I
I
know.
mean, basically just gave us a rundown of season 5.
Is that right? The whole arc, everyone, the new people coming on the show, and people dying.
Actually brings up a question.
Yeah.
You know, we had all this stuff from Candy in season 4.
Thank you.
Is John ever going to have a conversation with Harkavy again?
It's a good question. I don't know. But I think a more pressing question is his relation with his wife. Diggle being married to the leader of Argus, a woman who has her finger on the pulse of the Suicide Squad. I think it's just good storytelling. So we're going to explore a lot of that season 6 with Diggle. Also, the explosion profoundly affects Diggle. Profoundly affects Diggle.
Like your emotional way?
Both emotional and physical. Yeah. I shadowed Bam, James Bamford, this for the episode 601. If the gods allow it, and Greg Berlanti, we'll see if I direct. We'll see. But I shadowed him. And in shadowing him, we went back to the island and kind of show what happened in the explosion. You're gonna really like what happens to Diggle.
How was it last season getting to explore a new dynamic for Diggle with Dinah? Because I love their relationship.
I know, one of our producer, Wendy, MERICLE, she said publicly that because everyone's talking about that kind of the chemistry between Dinah and Diggle, and will that be a match? You gotta do something with his wife first, which, that's an issue, clearly. So you can't touch that. And but there's clearly chemistry, and it's great. But she will have a love interest this season, but it clearly won't be Diggle. Yeah.
Diggle's greatest challenge going into season 6?
I think a couple of things. First of all, he has to figure out. It's interesting too because me and Wendy had this very deep discussion, and Mark actually. And this is gonna be an interesting season for Diggle because. And they were in agreement with this. I brought it up, but they were on board because we kind of briefly talked about it in season 5. Diggle is probably the most evolved character of Team Arrow. He's been through 4 tours, Sergeant Major, been married, divorced, married again to the same woman, has a child, a vigilante father. We have to break Diggle. To break Diggle. I think season 6 you'll see Diggle get broken in a way that he hasn't been broken before. It already starts in 601, and I think there's a certain amount of it that's going to continue throughout the season, and we'll see exactly what that means. But I think it's an arc for Diggle that we haven't seen. It's even beyond his brother coming back to life and killing his evil brother, and it leading to the death of the canary and all this stuff. That's great drama. But I think season 6 you're going to see something from in Diggle's emotional and physical life we haven't seen before, and it starts at 601. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question or not, but yeah.
So kind of evolution of Diggle's world between starting in season 1 and then going into where we're going in season 6.
Yeah.
It sort of started out. Everything was very street level, very like kind of a human thread. And as the shows progressed and kind of combined with the other shows, it's had more superpowers, more metahumans, more, and now like the Argus and everything. How is Diggle's headspace kind of going into this kind of like as the world keeps expanding and becoming more dangerous?
Well, I think we've always kind of played with that, right? How his reaction to Flash, his reaction to Supergirl. It's always a place of humor we can go to with Diggle. But I think that comes from a real place, I think Diggle's always been a kind of nuts and bolts guy. And the world kind of expanding into superpowers and metahumans and aliens and the crossover. And I think that's all kind of out of his element. It's a place we can play with, but I think it's also I think ultimately a source of contention for he and his wife, because I think he tries to keep things very how do you defend the world in a world where people can move faster than light, right? He tries to struggle with that, and I think his wife will find out she's part of that problem to him in his mind, because she has her finger on the pulse of some of these metahumans. With the Suicide Squad, Argus is our shield, so to speak. So I think we're going to see some of that conflict in Diggle of trying to bring some normalcy to his life, being married to a leader of Argus and dealing with more and more metahumans. Now, even one on our team with Dinah. So yeah, you'll see some of that this season. But I think the big thing for Diggle this season is really some things that's going to happen to him personally and physically that I think going to change his life monumentally, and his relationship with Dinah, with Lila.
Hi guys.
Is that detrimental? Is that life changing? Yes, and it has the potential effect in the whole team.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
How does it affect Diggle's relationship with Oliver?
Well, I think you're going to find the table is going to turn. Diggle's going to start having secrets now, right? Instead of Oliver. There you go. There's a nugget.
he was all for it. He's like, I gotta edge this. I wanted to edge it up a bit. I wish I could all at once just go like white, but my hair would fry off. So it's a process.
So can you tell us about Black Siren and why she's coming out of the show at this time?
Well, first of all, it's awesome playing evil. It's so much fun. I think that we're going to be able to see, we'll learn more and more about Black Siren and Black Siren's backstory, and, you know, I think there are some chances of redemption. There will be a chance, I believe, of redemption for her, because I actually think she's just very damaged, and, you know, in terms of backstory, what I've done may or may not line up to what the writers end up writing, but she lost her father. Her and her father were kidnapped when she was 14, and she was forced to watch him to burn to death. And so her whole life, this is my backstory, sorry. Her whole life she set out to find her father's killer. And now that's why, you know, it's an interesting dynamic with Paul Blackthorne, and very confusing for he and I when we have scenes together, because we're so used to playing daughter, father, daughter, and now when we go into these scenes, he's all confused, and I'm just like, it's so weird having a completely different point of view, and then going through her problems with losing her father, and I think there's a lot of layers there, and I think it's like an onion. We'll be able to peel back and learn a lot more about who she is, why she is the way she is, and maybe have sympathy or empathy, or, you know, maybe there's a chance for her to not be so evil all the time. But I do think she's going to have that mystery to her always. Like, she's kind of like a loose cannon. It's like, you'll never know what you're going to get.
Are you happy that she might find redemption, or do you just enjoy playing bad?
Sorry?
Are you happy that she might find redemption, or do you just enjoy playing bad?
I am happy. She hopefully will find redemption, although they want to drag that out as long as they can. That's perfect for me. I love playing evil. It's so much fun. And I just get to, I feel free, if that makes sense, in the material, and I just, you know, it's fun. I really like it. Yeah.
How do you prepare to change personas as you go from good to evil?
How do you
prepare? So, like, what work do you do to change that persona?
It's almost like a completely new character. I mean, not completely new character, but having the same, you know, having a sister, having a father, people in her life on Earth too, creating backstory that's just exactly opposite, if that makes sense, to what we know of Laurel. And having similarities, but making it a little bit darker, and specific details as situations that maybe she's gone through that Laurel obviously didn't go through, but you still have that. She has her father. There was somebody that looked like Oliver on Earth 1, on Earth 2, and so I think it's just exactly, I've done a lot of work that's it's exactly parallel but opposite, if that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. I love working with Katie Lotz, and I think that's an interesting dynamic. I also just was talking to Mark, and it popped up in my head the other day, and I said to Mark, I was like, what happens when, is this possible even? Because there's so much, I get confused sometimes myself, but I was like, is it possible for Earth 2 Laurel, or Black Siren, to time travel and then come face to face with Laurel? Right? I'm like, what does that look like? I mean, it's definitely something interesting and really could be really cool. And I hope they do it. But who knows?
Interesting in doing something that they did on Flash with multiple, like you're 14, like all the different.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot to explore there. I think obviously there's an opportunity for the crossovers for that to happen. Whether it happens or not, I have no idea. I pitched it to him. He was like, that's awesome, love it. But whether it's actually going to happen, I don't know. So, awesome. Thanks, you guys. Totally. It's awesome.
It looks so good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Maya, our costume designer Maya, did an awesome job, and it looks amazing. It almost looks like it's in motion. You just like everything, even the bow staff that goes with it. It's like it looks like it's moving, like it's fluid. It's amazing, and it's comfortable, which is also great. And it just makes you feel like a total badass. It's a great suit.
Were there any Dinah Drake comics that you read to prepare for the role?
No, not to prepare. I mean, I researched, but I really wanted to make it my own. So I've started since, recently getting into the comics and reading just slowly, to see. But I wanted to do it differently, and I wanted to sort of give it my own spin and not be too influenced at first. Yeah.
How much can you speak to the relationship between Dinah and Diggle? Because I loved that last season, and then maybe where that goes next.
Thank you. Yeah, I loved it too, and I really hope it continues because they have a. There's like a, they're so close. They get along well, but also they're real with each other, and I would love to see that relationship evolve. Yeah. Maya had the whole costume design, but there were bits and pieces that we were like, how does this make you feel? How does this make you stand, versus this? And so there was a little bit of playing around. And when we finally landed on it, it was like, we just knew, like it felt right. And it was like, oh yeah, like this is her. Like, you really. So yeah, I did have some input. It was really fun. It was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. Yeah. No. I really wish I could. They're teasing me by saying that and then not letting me know. I'm looking at the whole cast like, is it you? Is it you? I mean, I love the idea of her having a love interest, and I think it's a side of her that we haven't seen yet because all we know of her love life is that, she had a terrible experience and, lost somebody she really cared about. So I think it'll be good for her. Yeah. Definitely. I think just being part of a team, having a family for the first time, not just being out for revenge, but actually having a purpose that's like, for her city and for her family, and it's gonna change her. It's gonna soften her in some ways, I think, which is cool because I like playing that since she is such a badass and so hard. She has something now inside that's like a soft spot because she has people. So I'm excited to play with that. Yeah.
Do you know if there'll be rivalries between you and Black Siren?
I hope so because I love our fight scenes last year were so fun to shoot. I imagine so. Yeah, I imagine so.
What sort of a reaction have you had from the fans since joining the show last season and coming to Comic-Con?
It's been really welcoming. It's been very warm and positive and supportive. Any negativity that I've experienced, I can't even really say that it has been negative because I get where it was coming from. Like a lot of it was just like what they felt a loyalty to a character that fans now believe is gone, or not anymore, luckily, which I think is awesome for the show and for the story. But you can't be upset for somebody's loyalty to their characters. As an actor, that's a gift to see fans that care that much. So it was all positive. Yeah.
Yes, we have a back and forth amongst ourselves.
We share a wardrobe.
Yes, we do.
The jeans are really long, but we deal.
Yeah, but we deal. The skirts are really short,
nice?
But yeah, I'm just trying to be.
It's shorter than I remember it being. When
it's because it's kind of it's
like
it's curling up a little bit. Because it was straight.
Well, I'm very bad at braiding.
Yes.
As me, Felicity though. Apparently,
Homegirl's got it. Homegirl has got it.
I don't know where she learned.
She took a class with some African sisters or something, and they hooked it up. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You look like you just came back from Mexico. What are these braids? That would be if I did them on myself.
Yes, but you pull off a very much Bo Derek kind of thing. It would look great. You could run down the beach with it.
You guys ever watch Happy Endings? So the pilot, when she comes back with braids in her hair, and he's like, "You look like you're from Predator." That's one of my favorite scenes of all time. She's like, "What?"
Assuming everybody, most of you make it off your island.
Don't assume that. Don't assume that.
Thank you for saying. I didn't want to yell anymore.
I don't want. Yeah. I'm kind of bad cop. She's good cop right now. So,
Hey.
what's the question again?
Good cop doesn't. Yeah. Are there Timbits here? I don't know why she was British.
What do you think are the chances of Oliver and Felicity completely rekindling their relationship? Because it seemed to be going that way again.
Well, I mean, what do you want?
Yeah, you guys want that?
To be honest, like
Tell us what you
I
want.
feel like we go right now with 6 seasons in, like we really do go by demand at this point. Like there obviously is creative juices funneling the story, but I feel like we're so grateful to have such dedicated fans and not only dedicated but involved. And I think the involvement, because we've started that way. I mean, I don't think for every show out there, but for ours it really works. And I think that we can't listen to the fans all the time, but we can definitely abide by. We can listen to it all the time, but it kind of depends on how that can be sort of meet in the middle, like a Venn diagram.
Yeah. I echo those sentiments.
Good work.
That you used.
I don't know if you noticed, but his name is Echo, and he just used the
and
word.
I just use it. It's weird for me to use that
Sometimes
word.
there's like Will Slate, and they'll be like 55 Echo, and I'm like, he's not here. Like, we have to wait.
I do always feel a little good when they say that. I'm
Little
just
film
like,
humor for
boom.
you.
If we're talking about relationships, what about Curtis? Like, what?
Paul died on the island.
Yeah, Paul's dead. No, I'm just kidding.
He was on the island.
He was on the island. He's the vigilante. Exactly. No.
Yeah.
There it is. But there it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop. That was why she did that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they could definitely rekindle. I think Curtis really loves Paul. But just never know. Hopefully Curtis is alive, so he can rekindle that. But there's definitely somewhere I like to see it go.
What's the sort of balance for Curtis going forward? I think in terms of sometimes he was on the street fighting, other times he was using his technical know-how. So kind of what's the balance you think going forward for that character?
Yeah, I think.
I'll let you have this one.
Actually, you take it now. I really think that he's got to balance both of those things to be a real integral part of the team, right? It's his tech aspects, his intelligence, but it's also he has to, bring that fighting prowess up a level and, just be there and a brilliant asset to the team on the field or in the bunker, So I definitely think he's going to be straddling both those lines if he's alive and just trying to, make it happen. Yeah.
Bring that Olympian back.
Yeah, bring that Olympian back, backflips, martial arts. Let's get into it,
Good luck, buddy.
Emily, what can you say about Felicity's career in season 6?
Well, assuming she's alive.
If she's alive.
This is like my favorite game.
I know.
Career-ending purchase. I think that Felicity needs a job, a day job. She's probably running out of money. That girl wears Gucci heels. Yeah, right?
She does.
A little bit too often in my personal. Is that yours? That's not yours.
This is mine.
Nope.
This was mine.
Nope.
Mine wouldn't have been right there.
That's not mine.
This is mine. I brought this.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You didn't.
Is this anybody's? This is mine. This is mine. It is mine. It is mine.
Okay, good. I just don't want you to, I think that she needs to sort of have the that like a hacking passion that she sort of carries inside of her genetic code. She needs to be able to exercise that more often and more frequently and put her talents to good use. She tried to do it with Helix. Helix wasn't exactly the right way to go. Unfortunately, because I loved working with Casey. Hopefully, we'll get to have her back. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see Felicity sort of doing work, maybe even if she's still in the bunker, but doing a different type of. I don't want to say
what was that job you had
occupation,
in season 3?
Tech Village?
Tech Village.
Yeah, she's not going back there because we don't have that set.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. They got rid of that set.
So, assuming you both survive, what do you want for your characters going forward? You both, from joining the show, your characters' lives completely transformed from what you would know.
Blown up, if you will.
Yes.
I love a good pun.
What would you want, for your character going forward, good or ill? What would be a good thing? Challenge for you, think?
I like that good or ill. Like what bad? Oh, okay. Like,
I know, but as
whoa.
an actor, challenge you would want
Yeah.
your character to go through, or do you want something good for your character? What would you want?
I would like to not see Curtis get stomped out by like 17 people. Every scene. That would be nice to see him kick some butt.
He's gotta go through a lot.
Yeah.
I said previously, I'm really petitioning for Felicity and Curtis to have more scenes together and more sort of intricate scenes. We actually do. We have a big day on Monday together, which should be really fun.
Assuming we're working on the show still.
On Monday.
Not dead.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, we have flights back to Vancouver.
If I survive this, I will survive in the show. That's pretty much how this.
Yeah, that's how it works. But there's no guarantees we might survive this. So we
and
don't
there's
know
no
what's
not
gonna
guarantees. Isn't
That's
that
true.
life?
Isn't that life?
And death.
And
Is there
a technical genius standoff between the two characters?
Is there a technical genius standoff between our two
I
characters?
think there should be.
I think
There
they're too
is right
smart
now.
to have a technical genius standoff.
They also have different strengths.
They do.
Yeah. So I think like Curtis is sort of like building in you're like careful what you say. I was
What?
like, shit.
I like, Wendy phrased it really well once, where
yeah,
it's
where's
like,
she at?
where's she at? She's like, Felicity's the software, Curtis is the hardware, right? You know what I'm saying? So I like that. They're both very intelligent. Yes, and they have their own
Can
strengths.
you sing that?
Felicity is software, Curtis is the hardware. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. And that was a really bad singing, guys. That was really bad.
I liked it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I'm going to let you wait for the panel to hear about Look, what I can say for sure is we left Anatoly with a promise. He left Oliver with a promise last season of he's going to stay in Star City, leave some guys in Star City, and Oliver's going to pay for that betrayal. Have we ever left you dangling for more than a season on that stuff? Yeah. I can tell you that, Steven announced that he's going to be back on the show this season. Whether he's in present day or flashbacks, I'm going to leave that to your imagination. But I will definitely tell you that, we really enjoyed having him back at the end of season 5. He gets a huge amount of, Manu just brings a certain chemistry and excitement to the set and to the show, and the fans love it. So we're excited about having him back.
Season 5 is very much about taking the show back to street level. So in season 6, how would you describe kind of the ethos of the show going forward? What's the mission statement?
It's going to be the same. I think what we found in season 5 was this is what works on Arrow. We have now Flash, we have Supergirl, we're gonna have Black Lightning, we have Legends, and every one of them has a slightly different tone and does slightly different types of stories. What we found we do really well is gritty crime drama, and with a little bit of levity with Curtis and Felicity or whoever, and we're gonna continue to, we're gonna double down on what we think was pretty successful season 5 in that respect.
What can you say about the villains?
I can tell you. What can I tell you about the villain this year? They're gonna. It's gonna be the biggest of all our big bads. I'll say that. I'm gonna be very cagey about that one. Sorry. We know what that backstory is, and I think this really speaks to the flashbacks of we're not going to be doing the Oliver-centric ones anymore, so we'll have the opportunity to do it from different points of view, and that would definitely be a top one that we'd want to do on the show.
Team Arrow very much kind of expanded.
Yeah.
So I was going to say Team Arrow.
You're next.
Team Arrow expanded quite a lot in season 5, and then sort of shrunk back down a little bit. Could we see any of those characters coming back? Characters like Rory.
Rory is great. I mean, it's always we always give this sort of pat answer, and I'm going to give it again, which is if the right story comes along and if the actor is available and all these magical things that come together, we'd love to have him back. And we did. We really expanded the show at the beginning of last season, and then it got shrunk down a little bit, and then we blew everybody up. So who knows?
With the previous seasons of the show, all the villains and even the sort of the heroes have all been kind of very human, it's all been technological and chemical fights that they're having. Now with the addition of metahumans kind of leading from Flash into Arrow's city and Arrow's world, how does that change the storylines that you have had going forward?
I think we worked a little bit, we explored metas and magic a little bit in season 4. And I think what we took away from that in season 5 was it exists. It's part of the universe that is there. It's not necessarily it's not right for our show. So I think even though if we get a good character and we can bring them in and they happen to have meta power, we'll try to make it as grounded as possible. But that's really it's really Flash's territory. They do that stuff so well, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Let them let them do their thing.
But does it change the dynamic of like when the threats come in, or do you really just try to pull it back and kind of make it still technological?
We always try to ground it. I think that, but what's fun about it is that we can do those grounded stories, and the reaction, yet all our characters know about these things. They know about superpowers, they know about metas, and the reaction can be really what I think the audience's reaction would be under the same circumstances, which is, this stuff is batshit crazy, guys. Like, what is happening out in Central City? What's going on?
Will the Vigilante be unmasked this season?
I think we're gonna see Vigilante again. I will tell you that. Yeah, you get good questions. Yeah.
You were talking about with Steven, and he told us that he's working closely with the actor who plays his family.
Oh yes, he is. Yes, with Jack Moore.
What can we expect from this idea?
Well, the season theme is season 6 is about family, and the last thing we saw was Oliver reunited under pretty tragic circumstances with his son. And I think for us, going forward and really thinking about, well, what is a challenge that we haven't seen a superhero go through in any of these shows? One of them is being a parent. So I can't tell you exactly how that's going to shake out, but I can tell you that Oliver Queen is going to learn about being a father and what that means. It can all depend on whether Thea pulls out of that explosion. Again, I don't know. Hypothetically, yeah. Hypothetically, not on the record.
Looking back over the last 5 years of the show, what have been some of the bigger learning opportunities that have taken you guys through
I think every season we learn something. I think for me, season 1 and season 4 were probably the biggest. We came out of season 1 and we knew we didn't know whether the show was going to work or not, and it did. And we sort of figured out, okay, well, this is what's really working, and we doubled down on that. I think in season 2 and season 4, it's a little bit of the opposite lesson. These are the things that maybe don't work on the show, and even though I think the season was successful, it was controversial. And so when that happens, you look at it creatively and you reevaluate, and you go, okay, well, let's try. You go in different directions. But I think every season you're constantly reevaluating. You're constantly trying to figure out, okay, well, what is this new direction we can go, and how do we keep it fresh, but also how do we make it still Arrow? Yeah. All right, sure. Thanks, guys.
Is there any chance we may see Raise of the Maid in season 6?
Yes, you're going to see Raise of the Maid in season 6. She's coming back. She's the big bad of the year. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. She's not the big bad of the year, but I want her to be. She's out on parole after her shoplifting conviction. No, that's also a joke. Rise is coming back, and we couldn't be more thrilled. It just makes perfect sense given the story that we're telling. And Ryza, I have to say, has always been this little fan favorite character. So we just couldn't be more excited about it.
When you said that the theme of season 6 is family,
Yep.
can you elaborate on that?
I can say that there's several different forms of family. There's the biological sort of nuclear family, but there's also found families. And last year we really spent the whole season building up this new iteration of Team Arrow. And the way I sort of like to describe season 6 is, last year we built a car over the course of the season, and this year we really take the car out for a spin. God, I ask myself that question every day. I wake up in the middle of the night with cold sweats asking myself that question. I think I'm a big believer that you always try to swing for the fences. At the same time, the more you make it about the fence swinging, the more you take your eye off the ball, to continue the metaphor. So we really are just focusing on the elements that worked last year. The gritty crime stories, the grounded tone. I think a big part of Arrow is the every year in to varying degrees, we always put the characters through some sort of grinder. And I think what made Prometheus such an effective character, apart from Josh's incredible performance was the fact that he really put Oliver through the meat grinder. We've got some pretty cool meat grinder moments planned for the season. So hopefully we'll be, here next year, and you guys will be like, how do you top so-and-so? Actually, for the entire team. That was the big, I will say the big, not revelation, but the big creative choice that we made was this year the consequences have to be felt not just by Oliver but by the entire team, and that's a big part of the engine that drives season 6.
Given all the different storytelling possibilities, have we absolutely seen the last of John Barrowman as Malcolm Murray?
Honestly, that's up to John. Totally up to John. We told John when we called him up to tell him about the events of the finale, we said, listen, quite frankly, every single person on all the shows has come back in some way, shape, or form. We've got flashbacks, we've got time travel, we have parallel universes. Goodbye is never goodbye. And he has a open invitation to return to the show anytime he wants. Yeah.
How, without going into that, how do you explore that?
I will say we've spent a lot of time in the writers' room talking about the relationship with William and quite frankly the potential pitfalls it represents, because a lot of times, particularly in like a 5th or 6th season of a show, like the kid comes on and that's a little it was scary to us, quite frankly, because you've got a character who is all about running around punching and killing people. What's he going to be like as a dad? And for us, the way we chose to address this problem or this creative challenge was to really tell the story of Oliver and William in as realistic a way as possible, and not shy away from the fact that Oliver does have this dual identity, and not shy away from the fact that William went through an incredibly traumatic experience at the end of season 5. So we're not moving away from it. We're actually going head on towards it, and that is providing a lot of the story fuel for that element of the show. Every season we talk about it. I want to say absolutely, because Jessica's expressed an absolute willingness to come back. We always want to. Jessica's a favorite actor of mine, and the Huntress is a favorite character of mine. So I want to make it happen in season 6. We've got some plans for the later half of the year, as we always do, that I think she would fit into very well. So we'll see. Also Jessica's an incredibly talented actress who works a lot. So our schedule and her schedule will have to align.
Major crossover.
Yeah.
Can we expect for this season?
Oh my God! We're going in on Monday to pitch to the studio. So, but what we're going to be pitching them is a 4-show crossover, not a 3-show crossover, that is even bigger than last year, which I think is really saying something. But we've hit upon an idea that is, I think, it's really huge. It has big emotional stakes, and is something that I think the comic book fans in particular will really, really dig. So that's all I can say about it at the moment.